the women, the female business owners, entrepreneurs that are going to rise, that are going to thrive in the next decade are the ones who are willing to show up imperfect, to drop the mask, to stop pretending, to stop being fully polished, perfectly packaged. Because for so long, I think we're entering an era where imperfection is going to be the goal. It's going to be the most appreciated, trust building, precious resource that we have. And it has always been perfection, like perfect brand, perfect messaging, perfect content, showing up perfectly, having the perfect words. It gets boring fast. What connects us? The creators that are going to succeed, that are going to build thriving brands, thriving businesses, are the ones who are willing to show up in their full, raw humanness. Fully human in their full spectrum, not the fully, like the perfectly packaged. Because in an era where AI can give you perfect captions, perfect pictures, perfect carousels, perfect videos, perfect websites, landing pages, like copy paste almost, perfect everything, who's going to stand out? Who do you think people are going to trust more? Who do you think people are going to connect more with? What looks so perfect that it's almost like puts you off, almost intimidating, or someone that speaks from raw human experience, that is willing to be seen while figuring it out, while learning? Like, I think showing the process, it's the most powerful thing we can do. Because not only, I mean, this thing of showing up every day on YouTube, it leaves no room for perfectionism. It leaves no room for, oh, let me do another take. Let me do it better. Let me rework my hook. Let me try again. No, because I'm recording every day. I don't have time to record again. So it's forcing me, and that's why I love it. It's forcing me to drop all my perfectionistic tendencies and skills I've learned over the years, and just be so humble and be humbled. And I think what humbles you heals you and heals the world, heals the people. What humbles you heals you and the people who witness your process, because you're being courageous and brave enough to be seen in your messiness. I think messiness is the new trend. Like one of the reasons I got so fed up with Instagram is that every time I open the app, this is not to trash talk on Instagram, but it's just the reality of how I felt. Every time I opened the app, it didn't feel alive to me. I want to see the person, but like you in your emotions, in your I'm still figuring this out, in your this is what I've learned. I'm not just saying just show your failures. Of course, your success, your achievements, and everything, but more honesty about how we got there, the things we've been through. Because I think sometimes, and I've been definitely guilty of this. I've been packaging myself to be perceived in a certain way. And I've learned this early on. We learned this in our childhood, teenage years. You learn, okay, how can I belong? How can I avoid judgment from others? And all the while, you absorb projections, you absorb outside expectations, you start to conform to standards that strip away your humanness. What makes you human is what makes you special. And I think dropping the mask, the moment we stop pretending, we stop worrying about, oh, let me look more polished. Not saying record a video in your pajama. Of course, if you feel like it, do it. But I'm just saying, the moment we stop worrying about how, like, the rough edges, the accent in my voice, the imperfect English, the so-so thumbnail, or the times I stumbled over my words, upon my words, over my words, I don't know. All those little things, I think, are the things that people are craving more and more as AI content, AI creations takes over. The things that are perfectly imperfect. That's what I personally want to see more of. That's what I personally am doing here. And honestly, I recommend this YouTube journey to anyone who wants a quick exposure therapy, a quick getting through your fear of being seen. Because nothing like last year in September, I started my podcast. And I remember I was reading basically articles from my blog because I felt like if I went off script, the recording, the episode will sound messy and it wouldn't be structured, it wouldn't be polished. So I kind of forced myself to follow the script and just read. And of course, with time, I started going more off script, felt more comfortable, felt like I could do it without sounding chaotic or anything. But that was mostly in my head. That was mostly my own fear of what people might think, or what people might say, or the fact that people wouldn't want to listen if it wasn't perfectly polished and scripted. And I remember I made a pact with myself to not edit out the hums, the pauses. I'm doing the same with YouTube. I'm not editing anything out. I'm keeping everything in. And of course, one, because I'm doing this every day, I honestly don't have time. And two, which is great because it serves another purpose. It helps me get better faster. Because if I know I don't have a chance to edit this, just go for it. And you will notice that if you accept that you might mess it up and it's okay, because we are the worst judges of ourselves. We are the worst inner critics. If you accept the fact that this can go wrong, maybe 0 people are going to watch this. Maybe this will have 4 views. If you decide you're okay with that, nothing can stop you. And you will discover in the process that people want to see more of that. The people appreciate you for that. And you are being a huge mirror and for what is possible when you do that. when you allow yourself to be imperfect, to show your quirks, what makes you unique, the things you thought you had to hide, the things that were shamed, the things that were judged about yourself, your accent, your way, your giggles, your pauses, your hums, the way you speak, the way you sound, the way you laugh, the way you look, whatever. If you choose to show up as you are, my God, you have no idea what's waiting on the other side. Not just, and I'm not just talking about the people that will just gather around you, because that energy is magnetic. I'm talking about also about how it feels, the lightness, the sheer joy. Like, this process for me, it literally feels like I feel like a kid again. Permission to play, permission to be seen messing it up. And it's okay, because you get to decide. You get to drop those outside expectations. And you get to decide, hey, this is who I am. And I always say this. I always say this. The things you think you need to hide, or the things you think people aren't gonna appreciate or aren't gonna like about yourself, are your gifts. Period. Those are what you're hiding is your light. What you're hiding are your superpowers. So get out there. Get out there. I'm just checking over my notes. Yeah, imperfection creates trust. If I can see that you're like me, you have the same weird 4 a.m. thoughts, you have the same harsh voices in your head that are super critic, you have the same fears, of course I'm going to relate. Of course I'm going to like you even more, because I can see myself in you. And we humans, we have a shared experience. And part of that shared experience is the contradictions, the paradoxes, the imperfections of being human. I think it's a responsibility we all carry to show up whole. There's no need to try hard, because you're already perfect as you are. I know it sounds cheesy, but it's the truth. Yeah. Yeah. The next generation of female business owners, creators, entrepreneurs, not just female, everyone, they're going to thrive because not because they're polished, perfect, but because they're willing to be seen. They're allowing themselves to be seen imperfect, fully human, while still learning, still figuring out. And that's magical. And that's nobody has it all figured out. That's a huge lie. A huge lie we've been sold. We're all figuring this thing out. So get out there, go play, go be a kid again, and let yourself be seen, because why hide your magic? You were made unique for a reason, and in that reason lies your purpose, lies your calling, your mission, your gifts. how you can help others, how you can make greater contribution in this life. You guys, I felt like we touched upon different things. And again, this was pure transmission. I had my notes, but definitely went off track and off tangents. And if you've been here, you know it. And I appreciate you for watching. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, let me know below. Give it a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow.